All right, back for part two of Stefan Molyneux. Yeah, sort of rhymes. Anyway, I'm working on certain little microphone issues and such. Sorry about that. Linux, is not works, but yeah, it doesn't do this recognize your device thing too well. So I'm finding it difficult to find some sort of perfect compatibility with a sound card or a microphone that doesn't do annoying things. Working on it though, continually. But anyway, yeah, eventually I'll figure out how to, you engineer a solution. So anyway, we leave off somewhere around where Stefan is making a comparison to his reckless, dopey friend who died at some ripish kind of age, and it therefore proves that being reckless and stupid sort of works. It doesn't prove anything. I mean, this guy had cancer and could have died, but didn't. So it's not exactly. And so what? I should say that, okay, your whole ideology and your whole lifestyle was failed because you died of cancer. I mean, that's just kind of silly. And again, this whole argument is based on you just do the economics. You just do the simple equation. Uh, what are we playing for? We're playing for preventing the Holocaust that is Mars. Where there's no humans on Mars, and that's a Holocaust. Because all of this denied happiness and fun, and the price for becoming Mars, allowing the Holocaust of you know Mars. I mean, you've of course cried hysterically over the crisis on Mars, right? I mean, it's a horrible thing, right? Let's not be deluded that it wouldn't be so bad if Earth became Mars. And what we get for that is immunity to torture and suffering. Never happens again. And the idea of human just becomes like a fairy tale. It happened one time in the universe that human, ate gingerbread and farted and then died, and that'll be a story. And the story will have to end. Ooh, horrible, horrible. You can't just write page after page after page of eating green eggs and ham. I'm Sam, I am, and doing the same shit over and over and over. So instead of having a Dr. Seuss book that is 1 zillion pages thick, where you just do the same shit over and over. I ate some green eggs and ham, had a little fart, blah, blah, blah. Instead of writing that over and over and over again, like some psychotic person from a movie who writes the same thing over and over and over again. This keeps doing the same shit over and over again. Whatever. Anyway, so we're somewhere around this point in this discussion about how people should be indifferent to the possibility of actually having no suffering. So there was a couple of comments. I guess I should read those. I think this is the comment page. Yeah, no boobs or anything. Anyway, someone please donate a new mic to Gary. Yeah, well, whatever. It's not really. It's just it's finding something Linux compatible that's the tricky part. I think it's more to do with the sound card and all that crap. But anyway, I'm working on it. Fucker. Anyway, let's see. I think we hit the nerve here, Gary. Oh, Stefan's angry. It's just funny. Like, this is sort of a victory that he's talking about the subject, which is that means we're winning. Yeah, at least people are having to address it, which is good. Let's see. There was some assholes who made some snarky comment. Oh, really, Billfield. That's no doubt a shitty comment. Oh, anti-bullshit man took care of him. How nice. Well, anyway, let me just read this real quick. At what point do you acknowledge, let alone address Molyneux's actual points? Oh, I'm not addressing the actual points. And his actual point is what? Responsible people are good. Oh, wait a minute, that's what I'm saying. Reckless people who don't think of the long-term interest are assholes. You mean the ones having kids when they didn't build the nest first? You mean the ones where, like, we've obviously not built a very good nest to raise children in, right? The world's polluted, greenhouse crap, tons and tons of debt that we've burdened them kids with. So it's a really shitty nest, and they're laying eggs in it. And his point is they should die, like his friend, for being reckless. Wait a minute, yeah, I did address that. Yeah, they should. Yeah, that'd be good. It'd be good if you assholes got what you deserved, which is tortured. You advocate for torture. You don't care. The victims don't have any right to complain. They're all whiny babies. And you should get exactly what you deserve, which is to be those victims. The master should have to be a slave. See what it's like, jackass. But you're already there. I mean, and you're just too stupid to even realize what a loser you already are. Pathetic. Oh, next time I'm going to be Homer Simpson. You're rooting to try to be mediocre. The average shithead. Anyway, his argument that is anti-nihilism promotes the exact opposite of what it's purported to do, since only people sufficiently wealthy and educated will seriously consider the philosophy. And why would that be? Why would poor people have an interest in making themselves poor by having kids, besides doing some sort of baseball team thing? Like everybody else is doing it, I'm in a competition, just social constructs, just silly traditions, dumbass religion. I mean, there's no good reasons here. And these are obviously, that's exactly the point where somebody smart should step in and say, hey, wait a minute, you don't have any good reasons. Here's an outline of what you're doing. No good reasons to do it. Bad engineering. The bridge will fail. Why shouldn't we step in and talk about their failure to grasp the significance of what they're doing, which is perpetuating the very thing they're complaining about, which is their poverty. I'm poor, and I'm going to have a bunch of kids that'll be poor. That's really stupid. All right. Never did you attempt to respond to his charge. Again, so what charge did I miss of his? That the sufficiently wealthy and educated should deny their intelligence, their perception, and say, well, because other people are raping, I should go out and do some raping. So all the rape babies are like me instead of like those other rapists. No, that doesn't make any sense. I should teach the poor how to inherit money. Oh, that's what he's saying, right? Something like that? Yeah. Teach the ugly how to inherit beauty. Oh, amazing. All right. Well, that's a stupid enough comments, right? So I don't need to read any other stupid comments because that's the stupid enough one to say, well, that's basically what the stupid comments are like. So moving on. Let's see. How do I get to the moving on part? I have to click something. I think this will do it. Ah, yes. So I fixed the resolution. I did have it compressed a little, and that is a little bit unfair, his image, but now it's smaller, so that, but who cares? Close enough. And hopefully the volume is correct, and hopefully it's a satisfactory video, but I can't guarantee anything, working on it. Work in progress still. And I wish it wasn't. I mean, I wish I could just plug in the microphone and there it works. But no, you plug it in sometimes and it does all kinds of annoying and obnoxious things. Which is annoying.
And you're sitting there studying for your stupid math test. And he's out there having fun. Not studying for the math test. He's happy. He's relieved. He's having fun.
Right. So we live in a world, right, that it just does constantly reward bad behavior. We pay people to do stupid things like have kids they can't afford. We do put out their fires, so to speak, that they start. We do clean them off of mountains they shouldn't have been climbing. So we have created a system that doesn't make much sense. And then we reward things like inheriting money, like it's some sort of, hey, you win. It's obvious you're better than me. You inherited the sign that says you're better than me. Yeah, I mean, we have an insanely stupid reward and punishment system. We have hugely stupid incentives, and everybody should be fighting against those. But this whole idea that this has something to do with the subject of are you God? Can you guarantee or insure? Can you pay the insurance premium for the mess you could make? Or does society have to clean it up? And their way of cleaning it up is, let's not even build mental hospitals for mentally ill people. Let's throw them in prison or on the street. And you're saying, that's good enough. We've done our job. That's a good enough civilization. That's a good enough nest to lay retarded eggs in. Now, you don't want to pay the real freight of making life, even for humans, something even in the ballpark of reasonable, let alone acceptable. And you can't do anything about the horrors in nature. You can't rescue the chimpanzees from their plight, their attrition, watching their babies die, being murdered in genocidal wars and all that stuff. You can't rescue them, and you just don't care. You just say, it's not my, hey, I'm only responsible for what feels good to me, what's in it for me. I don't have any obligation to recognize that the whole biosphere is being tormented for your pleasure. And I think, of course, you have a responsibility to justify all that. You have to justify the real cost of the experiment. And the real cost is there are rats in your maze that are being tortured. And you have to account for what your maze game accomplishes to justify the torture. And what does it accomplish? Saving the dead Martians from genocide or whatever. The value of populating Mars with a bunch of idiots who, have to get drunk to get through their life.
He's dead now.
So again, this is what I'm supposed to respond to. I'm supposed to respond to the inane, idiotic argument from, I have an anecdotal evidence that being irresponsible leads to your ruin. In the very argument where we're the ones arguing for the higher level of responsibility, really justifying your life, justifying the actual cost of it, the biosphere blood footprint, actually justifying your blood footprint, your torture footprint, the generations who will suffer because you've made that possible, because you've decided to perpetuate a pinball machine game that's obviously rickety and violent, and there's lots of things going, ouch. It's not a good game. And you haven't done anything to make it a good game, except advocate for more, let's all say me first. And say it over and over. What's in it for me? That's the mantra. Yes, that's the way to be. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Me, me, me.
Just heard it maybe a year or two ago. Died.
Oof.
He died.
Oh, amazing. Somebody died on Earth? and if he was one of you, he wouldn't have died. That dying thing would have never happened. And he would have lived to be old and disabled. And you could have complained about his disabilities and how you're a social pariah. You're a piece of shit because you're disabled and you didn't save enough money to be disabled. You're not allowed to be disabled. We don't have to pay for you, you stupid disabled person. And then they could be in a nursing home and you could say, no, that costs too much money too. But you won't let them even choose to die gracefully because that's against your traditional religion. I mean, you're amazing idiots.
What did he die of? He died of fun. He died of alcoholism.
Right, and you're advocating for this thing where you're saying, let's make more children, the burden to finance them, to pay for them, and all that stuff, and you're saying nobody's had a heart attack because of that. No one's died of the stress of paying their familial responsibilities. That's never happened on the history of planet Earth. Of course it has.
Because he was having fun. So much fun. It's like the marshmallow test, right? One kid is like,
amazing. So he's going to do another incredibly opposite, a complete opposite analogy, right? I mean, the analogy proves my point, not his point. He's the one advocating for the irresponsible replication. You know, you're 18 years old, horny as hell. Don't worry about the condoms and the implications and the consequences. Just have kids because it's fun somehow. Everybody tells you it's fun, fun, fun. And you believe it. Because you're idiots.
well, you know, Here's a marshmallow. If the marshmallow's still here when
I mean, you could read the comments on his video, you know, because there's all the people, it's the greatest thing I ever did in the history of my life. How the fuck do you know that? You didn't live a life where you could have gone to Paris and been an artist or done this and fucked bitches all over the world or some kind of... No, this is, you lived you made your choice. And yes, we're all going to say, frankly, because we all acclimate to our choices, hey, I like this choice a hell of a lot better than the idiotic choices you idiots made. But this idea, they have this magical notion that, oh, I'm the most fulfilled and rewarded person because, yes, I had, 5 kids who were pretty much, not very attractive and they're getting dumpy already. And, they have all kinds of little problems and quirks and idiosyncrasies. And, some of them can only wipe their ass standing up and they have all kinds of neuroses. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did really well.
come back in 15 minutes, you get 2 marshmallows. And there are 2 kids in the room, and one kid is like, oh, eat the marshmallow. That's how you fuel white privilege, just in case anybody wants to know.
Okay, so this has something to do with white privilege and how you fuel it with marshmallows. Sorry, yeah, I just, whoosh. The marshmallow analogy, missed it. I just don't understand how anti-natalists are grabbing marshmallows and going blah, 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 blah. How they're the ones saying, give me, me, more for me. Now, how is this a rational argument? I just don't get it. They see the tightrope. They see the bloody bodies on the ground. They see the imbeciles who think they won, okay, like the Trumpers hopping on the other side. I'm a winner, I'm a winner, I'm a winner. And, and the celebrities and whoever else is pretending to think they're, hey, I did this. I played this game really well. And they see that they're all fucking damaged and a mess also. There's nothing really to say, oh, yeah, I just wish I could live that person's stupid spandex whatever life. No, there's nobody who gets out of this alive. They all, John Wayne died. He was like, whatever, 100 pounds or something. We could just go down. I mean, it beats them all into pulp. Nobody walks away winning. Except for the guy who maybe lives the reckless, stupid life and dies instantly because a bridge falls on him.
You eat the marshmallow. And so the one kid and the other kid's looking over, like, is drooling, looking over at that kid saying, oh man, I can.
Who was laughing in the background? Was that his what pouch fondler?
Taste that marshmallow. I'm actually not a big fan of marshmallows.
Yeah, I know. You're just so full of shit. So you make analogies out of things that you really don't even like. So you don't even make a rational comparison where you could have just said some guy goes whoring around or something, or make an analogy that I might be able to appreciate in some way. But I'd also point out how, no, I was exactly the opposite kind of person, and I still am. I'm not a risk taker. I'm not a big fan of that whole nonsensical notion that it's worth having your legs cut off to be king of a dirt hill.
But anyway, some people like him. So, and he's looking over, it's like, oh, that kid is so, and the kid's like, oh, this marshmallow is so good. I want to have the marshmallow.
It really is a crappy analogy, right? Because I really don't think anybody, but like a 5-year-old is going to be impressed with this argument. I mean, who's impressed by marshmallows? I mean, right? You get to a certain age and marshmallows look like just really annoying as fuck. It's like you don't even want to see a marshmallow because even the look of them looks stupid and it looks like Tinker Toy or something. Just like, no, I'm so past that. All right, I just don't do the weebles wobble and they don't fall down thing anymore. You can't entertain me with a freaking thing that bobs up and down, and you certainly can't entertain me with a marshmallow, for fuck's sake. Got to make it like a chocolate covered marshmallow, put it on a cookie, do something with it. But a fucking marshmallow. So who is this argument intended to impress? Because I can't see how it can impress. You're certainly not going to impress an anti-natalist. Now, maybe the people who think like you are just saying, yeah, just make up any silly analogy and I'll go for it. Because, yeah, anything where you ridicule them for being marshmallow eaters, okay, we win. And again, the circumstances is we're exactly the opposite. We're the ones that say you have to eat your vegetables, that you have to pay for your fun. You can't have the free lunch. We're the ones arguing it's not a free lunch. And you don't got the pockets to pay the insurance. You can never undo torture. Okay, you can't fix it with a, hey, here's $50. You know, get over yourself. That just ain't good enough.
But I'm white, I can't have it. Winter, the color of snow that killed my ancestors. And
It is a little insane, right? I mean, you know, it's not really an outrageous classification, is it? I mean, he's really got some insane qualities, right? Right.
what happens 20 years, well, 20 years down the road? The guy who said no to the marshmallow is a lot happier, usually. A lot more successful, a lot more productive, and so on.
And right, the person who has kids is a success. It's really good for your career, especially a woman's career, right? Oh yeah, I mean, you want to have a good career as a woman? Yeah, go ahead, have some kids. It'll get you far. I don't think so. I think he knows that.
So yeah, the antinatalist, life is misery, and if you're happy, you're an idiot.
All right, again, that has just nothing. But of course, if you are satisfied with the condition of things and you think it's all okay, yeah, I have to say you're an idiot. But you're really not accounting for all the suffering and the torture and the torment. Again, you know, you can go through every single organism living on this planet, especially these higher mammals, and it's really nasty attrition, watching your kids die, lots of nasty shit, and you're eking and crawling through your life. You're not doing this splendor in the grass thing, because we all know there's ticks in the grass, and the flies are going to shoot up your nose, and the mosquitoes are going to bite the fuck out of you. This isn't this charming boat rider, this good ship lollipop. This does have Titanic and disaster written all over it. We all sink. You know, we all have to watch our life crack in half and we glub glub. There's just nothing all that charming about this silly joyride. You're defending a joyride, a hugely expensive joyride. And it's proven to be a joyride because, be honest, in your life, you've never shed one tear for the Holocaust happening on Mars, where human life has been annihilated. You're not upset about it. So why are you pretending the life on this planet matters more somehow? It's so significant somehow. It matters. It doesn't matter. It's all just a notion in your head. There's no physical evidence of the role that the sentient organism having a yummy potato chip is playing, or that it's all worth the huge price in terms of the misery you're imposing to have it. I mean, you know, it is really obnoxious to have to explain pain to people and say, why are you trivializing it? I mean, how did you exactly be introduced to it and that you've somehow turned it into some charming aspect of life? I just don't understand it.
Bullshit. Happiness is hard.
Whatever that even means. You know, again, how do I gain happiness in contemplating the risk of perpetuating a game, of creating two little rats and giving them a maze to play in, when I'm not a god and I can't control what's going to happen? How is that fun?
Reason equals virtue equals happiness. You have to know how to think.
Reason equals virtue equals happiness. So again, this idea that the virtuous person who's supposed to be doing the right thing and fixing things and all that kind of stuff is somehow happy to, you know, it's like being a happy nurse or something. I mean, there's a part of that that intrinsically doesn't make any sense. you're enjoying. It's like enjoying fail videos. I mean, it's something somebody with a small brain does.
Rationally, you have to put your rational principles into action in a consistent way that doesn't get you killed.
And the rational principle shouldn't be harm prevention, and preventing torture, preventing completely unnecessary suffering, like in the sense that there's no real need. You know, there's no horrible deprivation and awful torturous imprisonment. There's nothing, no real hard negative, and you should embrace the symptom for nothing. For a car that doesn't drive, we should just have a car that doesn't have any wheels on it, and we should just run gasoline in it. That would be retarded.
And then you get some happiness. You know what it's like saying? It's like saying, being.
You know, if you really think that's you know, they'll write on your graves, your tombstone, this was a happy man, because he trivialized suffering. And that's all you're doing. You're saying happiness is pretending there's no price being paid and that you're not responsible for it. Really?
Healthy and fit and not fat? Well, that's for idiots. The really smart people sit on the couch and eat bonbons all day. It's like, no, it's actually.
Well, again, I don't know where you're getting the statistical evidence that, frankly, that isn't how it works in reality, because they take a pill for it, or they go to the doctor, or they do this, or they do that, so they get away with it. So there's an awful lot of getting away with it that's created the behavior. And again, you can argue that there's no winning in being like older than 73 or something, because everything from that point on just gets rougher and rougher and rougher, and you just start acclimating to a smaller and smaller life where, gee, you know, I didn't break my hip getting out of the chair. You know, your expectations get so low, you know, for a good day.
Kind of a challenge. To remain relatively healthy as you age, sure. I mean, the things I've had to give up. I don't eat dessert anymore. Don't eat chocolate. Don't eat candy. Don't eat.
This is an amazing sidetrack where you're just saying, how are you comparing antinatalists to the reckless people? Like it's a reckless behavior to not have kids, to recognize first that you're not God, that maybe you don't have the financing to do it right, that, oh shit, that's a hell of a thing to have to do, to actually force your kid to play the violin or something, or try to maturate them into a sophisticated life, and knowing exactly how much pressure to put on them. So, you know, too much pressure, they reject you, they become drug addicts. I mean, you know, having that responsibility is just daunting. And he's calling those the reckless people, the people who have those thoughts, and those thoughts deter them from the behavior. And then they'll go out and explain those thoughts to other people and say, well, you know what I mean, you're going to just sit there and, you know, you really shouldn't endorse people, you know, doing anything too young that's serious, right? So people having kids at 20 years old or 18. Yeah, that's another statistical fact, right? Women, you know, in poor countries who actually finish high school have, you know, 60% fewer children. You know, they have 2 kids instead of 5 kids on average. You know, huge differences. Just a couple of years of thought, a little bit more perspective, and they gain a huge perspective about what they're capable of, and you know, their recognition that maybe they're not prepared to you know, that's enough to handle, to mold 2 lives, let alone try to manage 5 of them.
Cookies. What else have I have to give? Oh, yes. No bread. Love me some bread. No bread for you.
Oh, whatever. So, I mean, these cheese conversations, I mean, it just seems like all you weirdos, you glibbers, this is like your favorite thing. You talk about some kind of food analogy, you know. It seems like you're all obsessed with, gee, it's all worth it. Torture is worth a lump of cheese. Man, it's pathetic.
My temper rises because yeast rises. Screws up my digestion.
Well, it seems reasonable to compare you to some sort of fungus. Yeah, some glib fungus, some brainless fungus. It seems pretty much how you function.
And potatoes! Yeah, they were fun while they lasted. No potatoes for you anymore. What do you get? Gravel and marshmallows. So no, it's hard.
Whatever, some other guy laughing at him. It's really, really weird. So anyway, again, where's the conversation about any of this sacrifice or any of this horror or any of this other stuff? There's obviously lots of people can testify that having kids is really good for your personal health and really good for your personal fun. Yeah, it works. Lots of people have not had kids and done it very successfully.
Happiness is hard. Happiness is a sign, if you achieve and maintain happiness, it's a sign of intelligence.
Well, exactly the opposite argument is basically how you started this video, and that and certainly I would say it's exactly the opposite. I mean, the ignorance of bliss and all that kind of stuff. It's obviously the stupider, the more retarded you are, the more retarded your logical function and your ability to survey your real circumstances and the real circumstances in the world, the more satisfiable you are with that bad game. So yes, smart people see the game sucks. Smart people have the burden of knowing they suck even, that they recognize that, oh yeah, I'm sort of a genetically built, selfish, Borgish monster that's, worming my way through the humus that's made of other feeling things. And, ooh, yeah, that's not a great idea.
It's a sign of perspective. It's a sign that you're not frustrated by taking on more than...
Right, that you shouldn't worry about making yourself happy. You should use some other victim to make you happy. You can't just, rub your own little hiney. You have to have some little new baby's hiney to rub. You need to get your gratification from something else's jeopardy. I'll risk their welfare, on the trampoline because I like watching things bounce. Something like that. It's just stupid. It's selfish. You're the one gorging on your marshmallow candy.
You can actually change, but not apathetic to what you can change.
Look, just about everything can change or be changed in terms of the direction we're marching, and history proves that. And it doesn't take miraculous events sometimes. Little tiny things can change. So, there's the subject is not closed because, oh, the human identity is in some sense, we're not billy goats, kind of a machine. We're not a kind of thing that can adapt. Of course we can adapt. Of course we can learn. And of course we can change by that education.
It's a tough balance. It means you found that Aristotelian mean between courage and foolhardiness.
Well, I don't know why that would have anything to do with Aristotelian. Again, I mean, that's always the dilemma of an existence, is to measure risk to reward. And I would just argue that the real context to that equation is always expanding your vision to understand that the decisions you make now will, in fact, affect many, many, many future generations. And what do we see in the real world is we see a lot of short-sighted, selfish decision-making that has nothing to do with the welfare of that future, like building economies that are based on unsustainable growth and other kinds of nonsense. Completely idiotic notions of we can do it this way forever. We can just keep spending on the credit card and keep shoving it in the kid's pocket, and somehow that'll work forever.
Between caution and cowardice. Between trying to change the world without being enslaved to things you can't control. That's
So again, enslaved, you're enslaved to the decisions of parents. So that's exactly a kind of servitude. You're born to their silly, subjective notions of it's good enough. So I get born in Indonesia to some parents of meager means. They'll never be able to afford to buy me a piano. never have the means to have me properly educated, and I'll end up, whatever, dying in a cement mixture accident in 21 or something. That's slavery, in my opinion.
Complicated. This is a big balancing act. People who are reasonably happy in a consistent way, no. It's a big balancing act.
So again, this has nothing to do with the subject of what makes people happy. It has to do with what you have some right to impose. And again, you're the one saying confidently, impose, impose, impose. It's always a good idea. Just keep imposing. And the anti-natalists are just saying, well, at minimum, you have to justify this. Okay, and I would say it as an absolute sense, you're never going to be able to defend your claim that you're this godlike prognosticator who can know that the victory is there to be had and that there'll be some great profit. I mean, profit in terms of you will somehow create more gratification than you do torture, and that you're confident that's the mix. And what do you make that? What logic do you make it out of? Nothing. Just traditional notions. Because God bothers have been telling you, preaching this nonsense that it's a God-given game we're playing, are these nature glorifiers who, oh, it's a circle of life. It makes perfectly good sense that we just keep turning the meat grinder handle. It's a handle. You're supposed to turn handles. It's a meat grinder. Yeah. Why are you turning the handle on a meat grinder?
Doing good in the world is hard because the more good you do, the more evil people hate you. And
oh, well, isn't that a convenient pile of shit? So let's all say, everybody can say that, right? Yeah, so yeah. Oh, those damn evildoers.
And knowing that you're doing good, stepping over all the hatred, maintaining your positivity.
Right. Doing good is make reckless decisions in your reckless youth, okay, that you have no way to be able to take care of. And then, as most of your followers or the people who like your philosophy have done, cheat as much as you possibly can, don't really pay the bills, and then whine about how the bitches are controlling you. Ugh.
Don't tell me that's easy. Hey, it would be easier to be happy in a future world where we're actually free human beings. Right now, yeah, happiness, a little complicated. But
no, it's really just a head game. So if you got your health, you have everything, all that kind of stuff. This argument isn't about being happy. It isn't about being able to masturbate or something. It's not. It's about overall perception of the whole package and understanding that at any moment I can be happy if I feel good and I'm not diseased or something. But there's no rational reason for me not to recognize that if I don't maintain that good luck, it would be retarded for me to ignore the price I pay, and that the prices are real. I mean, maybe it's okay for you, okay? You don't mind watching the people you love be squished, crushed, have their guts pop out of their mouth. I do. It's not good enough. I don't want to play a stupid game, and it's stupid to just sit around and wait until it's your turn to be stepped on like a buck.
The nihilists, the antinatalists, the existentialists, postmodern.
So let's understand, he is exactly these things, right? He's the nihilist. He's the one saying suffering doesn't really matter. It's not important. The only thing that's important is our ambition and our needs. We're horny. We got an itch for a butt plug, and let's make one out of somebody else's welfare. Let's shove a kid into our butt, because the welfare of the kid's not important. What's important is that I'm happy. And I'm happy if I have a little kid, shoved up my ass.
Happiness is stupid. Emo is brilliant. Being miserable, being hard.
So again, where's the evidence that that's the subject? Where's the evidence of show me all the anti-natalists who are all for being miserable and advocating that there's no way to, you can't escape any of the, there's absolutely no joy to be had in life. It's just such a crock of shit. And clearly what you're doing is completely exaggerating the rational fear that any sensible person would have in placing something fragile and delicate and valuable on a greasy tightrope and saying, there, I've done something really cool. Balancing, let's say a piece of glass art that took somebody 600 years, it was worked on by generations of people to mold it and to shape it into this beautiful piece of art. And you just sit there and, put it on top of the head of the pin and wait for somebody to open the door and it falls off. I mean, you're the one risking the value. For what? To play a silly game, a silly delusional, I'm accomplishing, I'm winning game.
Horrible. Values are for goofs, man. Nothingness is where everything is. You think you're smart, but you're happy so you can't be.
So again, he's claiming the average reproducers are living some sort of wonderfully happy life, and that we all should just concede that, yes, it all works out so well, the kids are all happy, everybody's happy. What are we worrying about? Nobody dies badly. There's nothing you can say. It's insane.
Because you don't see, man. You don't know what it's like to be this miserable. To see so deeply, to be so unhappy. Bullshit. This is the best time in human history to be alive. I swear to God.
All right, so I could make the argument that obviously the other times in human history, the amount of time you spent disabled and sick was tiny compared to the percentage of your life you're going to spend in the modern time sick and disabled. So, I mean, our technology has just made it possible for us to die more than once. We get to die 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. We get to die lots of times. And those experiences of dying will be just almost like the real thing of dying. Like you go right up to the edge of being dead and, oh, I'm saved. And so you have to go through the process of almost being dead and then recovering from almost being dead. Just so you, in a few months, you can go ahead and do the same thing all over again. So, this argument that, oh, I'll just make a grandiose statement that, oh, yeah, consciousness has never been in a better condition. No, the truth is that human consciousness has never been in a worse condition. It's older and more disabled and sicker than it's ever been in the history of mankind as a percentage of the time it's conscious. We spend more percentage of our consciousness being tormented, okay, than accomplishing or being strong and being vital and playing good games. We're playing shittier games more than ever.
At least once every 2 days, I shit you not, at least once every 2 days, I say, hey, I've made it to 51, never got drafted. No smallpox. No bubonic plague. No starvation.
It's kind of funny. He had cancer. I mean, fuck. I can say I was made to 58 and I never had cancer. Okay, I did have a stroke, so, a little bit of trouble. Never broke a bone, Lots of miseries here and there, though. Anxiety disorder, no fun at all there. So, yeah, I had my share of not so good.
I have a job the very gods would kill for. I get to have conversations.
You have a job? That'll be amazing. So they'd kill for the opportunity to be a propagandist for some vacuous notion cause of, well, white supremacy and male supremacy and didn't we make the world great and aren't we fantastic because everything is so beautiful and perfect, right? While we're on the verge of global warming and wage disparities never been worse. But everything's great. This is great for me as a propagandist.
Conversations like this, spread wisdom, challenge people's thinking, discomfort the comfortable, and comfort the afflicted. Promote reason, truth, Rational philosophy.
I mean, it's amazing, to take some, Clarence Darrow kind of line, um, when he's exactly the opposite, comforting the comfortable. Oh yeah, tax cuts. We need more tax cuts for the people that have, tons and tons of IOU slips. They need more. They need to acquire more ownership of more stuff so they can rent it to the rest of the world. That's afflicting the comfortable.
Philosophy every day. Mwah! I kiss the very fate gods that dropped me into this ping pong ball of truth.
And if you were ping pong ball into Bangladesh, born with AIDS or something, you just thank the gods for that too. That's going to be special and fun,
Who's gonna be unhappy? There's bad things happening in the world. Yes, there are. And for the first time, we can do something about it before it's too late. Not in.
Yeah, exactly. For the first time, the human race has liberated itself from the shackles of religion and the shackles of ignorance. So we've defeated two stupid things, right? We've defeated just grotesque ignorance, and then one of the symptoms of ignorance, which is, religion is more than just ignorance, right? Because religion is obviously it hasn't died, even though knowledge has increased tremendously. Our knowledge of the world and how it works and microbes and all this stuff, and still the ignorance is persistent. So it's more than just something ignorant. It's this devotion to tradition or something. And yeah, we're in a position to understand the psychology of that and to understand how you can't do this, life by fairy tales nonsense. You got to be an adult, a grown up, and use your brain effectively. And you can't pretend there's talking bears and wolves that dress up as grandma and all that kind of stuff. You got to grow up. Pigs don't make little brick houses.
Hindsight, but ahead of time. Anybody who's miserable in the modern world wants to be. They're protecting the misery of their family. They don't.
Oh, amazing. Just, amazing. And he means by miserable, he means sullen, mindful, sad even, for the fact that all this, 2 million feral cats in New Jersey, living out meager 3-year lives, struggling in an environment they shouldn't be living in. They're not even made for anymore. Nobody should be upset by anything. It's disgusting. These glib fuckers. I can all say, I hope you get what you deserve. Couldn't hurt if the assholes who advocate for torture are tortured. So I hope you get your share of it for sure.
Want to challenge the misery of their friends. They don't want to find the glory within that lifts them up on angel wings.
Well, whatever. Glory within lifts them up with angels' wings. Okay, so that's some sort of rational argument that somebody should take seriously, or that should have some effect on intelligent people. So you're saying I'm going to talk to these intelligent people who are squandering their intelligence on this silly notion of trepidation and worry and concern, and I'm going to defeat their intelligent caution and fear of risk by talking about angel wings and glory and shit. Yeah, great argument. Wow, yeah, I'm totally convinced.
We can fly, we can communicate, we can chat, we can talk, we can reason, we can learn, we can think. We have access to all the world's information.
Right, and what information was in this video? Again, how did you argue or defend the idea that you have a right to play God, you have a right to impose risk, and that you have some sort of evidence argument to make that somehow it will be all right if it's tortured, because that happens, so what? It's the law of averages, big deal. Nature says it's okay, and isn't nature the smartest person around? Isn't nature like Einstein? You want to know the answer, like the old turtle or something? Isn't nature like the really 500-year-old turtle that's wise? Go ask the wise turtle, what should I do? You know, do what the DNA says. Be a retard for the function of a pointless contest. So a million years from now, we can have some other perverse little shaped DNA molecule say, I'm king, I'm king, I rule the world. I torture all the other DNA molecules.
On a tiny, magic Palantir flat box of knowledge.
So again, all this is about exactly this problem. That intelligence just is going to create more burdens than opportunity. The smarter you are, the more you're going to know about what waste is, and how you can't allow it to be part of the equation. The more you understand your obligation to be efficient, sufficiently efficient, minimally efficient, and we're not even close to operating in the black. We're consuming way too much gas and creating way too little motion.
A touchscreen. What a time to be alive! What a time to speak when there's no gatekeeper. I spent 20 years beating my head against trying to get to a public voice. Finally, I'm like,
yeah, well, your voice is, in my opinion, getting less and less significant. I mean, yeah, you got 755,000 subscribers, but yeah, how many people are you really influencing? Besides just collecting a bunch of like-minded libites, you know, to fight for the cause of white power. You know, it's pathetically not an accomplishment. You really think the future is going to build a monument to this crap? Or are they going to be embarrassed by this crap? I'm betting you're going to be on the ash heap of embarrassment.
like, fuck it, I'm doing it myself. Boom! Biggest philosophy show in the world. Boom! I couldn't have had this 20, 30 years ago. I couldn't have had this, barely had it started 11 years ago. Might not have it in another 10. I don't know. But I'll be goddamned if I'll go down without a fight. And we have a fight.
Like every other preacher, right? So you're just a Jerry Falwell or something, and look at the power the preachers have now. You're talking to the converted. You're not converting.
You have a webcam, you have a microphone, and you have the truth. And you can take down major networks over time.
Right. And look at the way he's taking down stuff, right? The argument is about the ethics of having children and the notion that you can not only insure against the risk, but that you can make an argument, you know, that what you're doing isn't an imposition. But somehow the ones who say this isn't nearly good enough a nest for you to lay this egg in, and they don't have a right to complain. Well, where's their non-right?
CNN, who has an average viewer age of 60, is bitching and rolling out and trying to undermine and get shut down InfoWars. Well, they're not doing that because InfoWars is losing.
Yeah, right. And the world is, the idiocracy is a real thing. You know, we just elected a completely incompetent, lying piece of shit. I mean, Bible's my favorite book. I mean, just disgusting lies for only one purpose, to fool retards, idiots. And you're saying, oh, no, we've never been at such a wonderful plateau, a peak of huge beauty and accomplishment. No, the world's never been an uglier place. The politics and the conversation has never been more propagandized, more farther from the truth. It's never been further from anything real, the conversation, and you're proud of it.
Antinatalists are fundamentally embarrassing, and they are a stain upon the potential for happiness the modern age affords. And yes, there's a...
So again, this idea of whatever happiness is, right? It's just a head game, mostly. And we see how people are gluttonous, and that's the obstacle to most people's happiness, is the fact that their expectations are insanely high, of what they're entitled to, and they have no appreciation for anything, simple. Um, Again, the whole consumer economy, the all this superficial status.
Migrant crisis. And yes, there is demographic replacement. And we can talk about it. You know, these disasters were always happening throughout human history. Imagine the internet in 1914 talking about the murder of Ferdinand, talking about what was actually going on with the Serbians. Imagine if that information had been available. There are problems, as there always have been.
Again, what is the information was available? What information was available going into like the Iraqi war? A bunch of propaganda, a bunch of lies, a bunch of distortions, a bunch of perversions, and that's all that dictates policy, is a bunch of crap. So again, I don't see the evidence that it's a better, this implication that the world of Walter Cronkite was bullshit, and now we're really getting to the truth. When no, you're getting to the truther, the ideology of the scapegoater. Just blame it on the bitches, blame it on the Fed, blame it on the banksters. I mean, it's just bullshit. No, blame it on you, idiot.
In human history. But now we have the capacity to talk about them. So yeah, a natalist, they're just confessing that they're too cowardly to be happy and too dumb to...
Right, so yes, and I would argue the simple argument is no, we're just not glib enough to keep walking through it, to keep stepping on it, to keep watching the victims be ground up in your ambition. And that's all. Okay, but that's how simple the argument is. You place no value on suffering, pain, misery, and you place this huge value on the ambitions of human beings. And I do exactly the opposite. That's right. I don't think their ambitions have any rational merit at all, and their willingness to impose and also endure huge amounts of suffering is idiotic, especially the imposed part. That's just rude.
Find the path to joy. And I feel real sympathy, because it's one thing to know that you're screwed up and to say, wow, I'm really screwed up. Like I've got a lot of reason to be happy, but I'm really screwed up. I mean, there's got to be some way to be happy. And then you work on your self-knowledge, you work on facts, reason, evidence, honesty, you improve your relationships,
Right, you improve your relationships so you can love something and watch it die. Again, I don't understand it. The relationships are all traps, because if you really sincerely care, you're going to have to watch the thing you care for deteriorate and die, and you're not even going to have to deal with the fact of watching that and witnessing it and have those memories. But then you're also going to have to deal with the loss itself, which is now your life is emptier. It's got a hole in it. There's an empty spot where they used to be, and they're not in that chair anymore. And because we are creatures of habit, that's really annoying. But yeah, you can, you're the kind of guy that maybe can live in any apartment. It doesn't matter. You don't need anything familiar. You don't need anything that's comfortable,
Aristotle was talking about this 2,500 years ago. For God's sakes, how do you be happy? You pursue excellence.
Oh, whatever. Excellence in what? Be an excellent gladiator. Be a happy gladiator. I mean, be a happy Nazi. Be a happy child molester. I mean, this is just idiotic. I didn't know the conversation was about being happy. I didn't know that's what antinatalism was about, was somehow we're advocating that you shouldn't be happy. No, go ahead and be happy. It's just the state of mind. Sure, turn on the happy switch if you can, but don't do it in the sense that you're now going to deny the existence of the fact that you ran over the neighbor's cat or something because you were drunk or lazy. I mean, don't use it as a mechanism of excuse to just sit there and say, I don't have to see the price paid. I don't have to see the cost. I don't have to pay it, so who cares? I mean, that's bullshit.
With the goal of virtue, you maximize the use of your mind in pursuit of the good. Now, the good may be moral virtue. It may be making the best.
Oh, yeah, whatever. So he thinks there's something virtuous about selfishly having kids to vicariously relive your life in some reformed way where, well, I'll do it different than my dopey parents and you know, they'll turn out much better than me or something. I mean, it's just so stupid. I can't play golf. I'll just engineer my kid to do it for me. You know, what the hell is that shit?
Violin, it may be making the best argument, it may be making the best company. You use your maximum potential in pursuit of the good, of excellence. That's what you do. You milk your max.
Right, right. And so the whole argument here is that this is not an excellent game, that it's a really shabby field, it's full of barbed wire and rusty nails and all kinds of shit, and you're saying let the kids run around in it, let them play the stupid carnage game. It's all for the good. And again, if there was some evidence that you've made some effort to fix this game, to take those rusty nails out of the field, to make it a good game, then I might be able to give some latitude to this whole argument that you need this, you need the human experiment to continue, you need this, need so bad. I might be able to even hear those words, but there's absolutely no evidence that you give a fuck about the gameplay. All you care about is your own DNA and your own frickin' ambitions and your own what's in it for me crap, and that's all you're defending here. You're not defending anything bigger.
Maximum capacity in pursuit of the good, whether that's art or arguments or business or what. Doesn't matter. You bring your maximum capacity in pursuit of the good. You add beauty and truth and virtue to the world to the greatest of your capacity.
Right, so you think that this little speech right here, that they'll play this little tape on top of the Molyneux monument, you know, and that people won't laugh their asses off and take a piss. I mean, come on. I think you're just so silly. You think this is the pinnacle of human perspective. This is maximizing intelligence. This rationalization of glib selfishness. And not even selfishness in some sort of real sense that you really need something. I mean, this is selfishness like the masters and the slaves. This is like the kind of selfishness that's so out of reasonable bounds. I have a right to use children for my purposes, you know, for my gratification.
And that doesn't mean working 24/7, because that will not make you happy, right? So we've known this for 2.5 millennia. Expend your maximum capacity in pursuit of the good. No, I'm going to convince.
So let's just also pretend that all jobs are fun. You know, that, you know, it's fun to have a risky job or a smelly job or one that gives you a disease and all that kind of stuff. And it's all, you know, that's not how the world works. There's nothing even about the game we're playing. There's nothing fair about the game we're playing. And you haven't done anything to make that world a better place except endorse the cheats that exist. Yes, you earned the rich father. You know, you engineered a good birth for yourself. Therefore, you deserve it. I mean, that's your psychology. That's your philosophy. That whatever happens, you earned it. You deserved it.
Happy people not to have children. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, get what you fucking deserve. So fuck you, okay? Fuck you. If I did have the power, I would ensure that you got exactly what you deserve. That is all the suffering you deny and minimize, that you would have to live it. That you would have to live the life in the wheelchair with the, you know, on the breathing machine, and that you would be paralyzed, and you would be all these things that are the real imposed realities that will have to be endured, all the experiences of, you know, people in Japan when the flood came and their children washed right out of their hands, right out of their hand, right out of their hand, that you would have to experience those things. It would happen to you, motherfucker. That's what I wish. That's what I can hope. And if I could make it happen, if I could take it away from them, your victims, and impose it on you, I would. If I could shove all these nails and all this shit up your ass, I would. You fucker.
You think you're describing the world, you're just describing your own sorry ass self. And you don't even...
You're just a glib, selfish piece of shit. A small-minded, small-dicked, wannabe fucking Jedi who's not even close to the real thing, doesn't have a real principle in your fucking goddamn heart or brain. You're just a selfish cunt.
No, and that's the problem. This is where the tragedy is they don't know that they're fucked up. They think that they're fucked up is enlightenment. They think that being miserable and niggardly and miserly is enlightenment.
Right. So at least now he's got it right? Before he was comparing us to the marshmallow eaters. Now he's calling us niggerly. Because that's a fun word to play with, right? Oh, God. You just suck. You just suck. I mean, what an irrational finish. I waste all your time with this silly marshmallow analogy and my dead, debaucherous, drunken friend analogy, and then I flip it upside down and call you people a bunch of stingy, cautious, careful, responsible fucking cunts trying to ruin our fucking fun parade.
It's not. Yeah. It's not. You have turned your own personal pathology into a universal, absolute, and a good. So good luck getting out of that.
I'm very, very satisfied being this human instead of you as a human. And certainly I don't think any of you people are very functional. So, I mean, I wouldn't wish to be any of you. I mean, maybe you wish to be one of these cretins walking the earth. You want to be a bankster, or you want to be the Trumpy president, or the daughter of the Trumpy president, or maybe you think those are all really cool life experiences to be these weaselly pieces of dumb shit. But no, I'm scared to death that yes, I'll be sentenced to that. That's the fucking sentence. The life sentence is I'm going to have to do this bullshit. I'm going to have to wake up, to that mess as a reality to have to live through as a decent, intelligent being. And I won't even be that. I'll just be some whatever, one of these generic, sloppy, reckless, ignorant pigs that you feed. So yes, get exactly what you deserve. I hope you get exactly what an ultimate intelligence, if there could be such a thing, I hope you get exactly what the ultimate intelligence would say you're entitled to, what you supported and defended, that you should get exactly what you deserve. You piece of shit. Anyway. That was, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's moments where you say, "Oh yeah, oh Stefan, yeah, he's pretty funny. He can, he can talk and do some bullshit, blah blah blah," and you're like, you don't take it too seriously. But then when people say certain things, it's just, that's just over the edge. Fuck you. Yeah, that's all. Just leave it at the fuck you instead. That's the more appropriate response. Fuck you. Anyway, that's probably enough. Thinking about it. See, I think about it. Thinking is a good thing. Yeah, it's enough.